Cantu still gonna be my commissioner. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the August 16th, 2023 meeting of the Daytona Beach City Commission. We are welcome, am I reading the right one? I believe I'm not, because this is not the City Commission. This is the CRA. We're happy to have you with us this evening. And at this time, I would ask Ms. LaMagna for a roll call.
Commissioner Henry. Commissioner Reed. Commissioner Paris.
Here.
Commissioner Strickland.
Here.
Commissioner May. Here. Commissioner Cantu. Here. Mayor Deric L. Henry.
Here. We'll now have the invocation led by Commissioner May, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Henry.
I'd like to start this evening by thanking all those who took the time to come and join us this evening. And also, there are many people in our community in the past year, 2, 3, 4, 5, who have passed away, have been true leaders in our community. So I also welcome them with us also, because their spirit stays with us at each commission meeting, as does their intentions. As always, we hope to make the best decisions with the most accurate information that we have, in the best interest of all present and for the residents of Daytona Beach. Thank you all for serving so well in every capacity in which you serve in our city, and thank you to the residents for being Daytona Beach residents. We ask this as a group and in prayer. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We'll now move on to item number 4. Item 4A is approval of the minutes of the July 5th, 2023 meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Second.
Take a motion from Commissioner Henry and a second from Commissioner May. Do we have any questions? Was I wrong? Were you had the motion? No. Who had the second? Were you the second?
It doesn't matter.
Just the two of them?
Yeah.
Commissioner May and Commissioner Strickland?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think my hearing is clogged, but maybe we got to get closer on the mic. Okay. All right.
So we had a motion and a second.
All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. All right, we'll have our agenda approval. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, there are no changes for the CRA meeting tonight.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the CRA. Second.
Motion from Commissioner Reed and a second from Commissioner May. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 6, which is our administrative items. Item 6A is a redevelopment department award city-owned vacant lots to affordable housing developer for construction of single-family homes for very low to moderate income households. This is a resolution approving an affordable housing development agreement between the city and Mid-Florida Housing Partnership, Inc., Mid-Florida, providing for construction of single-family homes on vacant residential lots to be conveyed to the city, to be conveyed by the city to Mid-Florida, and the sale of the completed homes to income-restricted families at an affordable price, and providing an effective date.
Motion from Commissioner Reed, second from Commissioner Cantu.
Okay.
All right.
And I have speakers, Mr. Mayor. Our first speaker is Ruth Traeger, and on deck is John Nicholson.
Ruth Traeger, 610 Bostwick Avenue, Daytona Beach. Did everyone get a... Okay, now the two lots in red are the lots that I'm going to talk about. The ones outlined in black are the ones that we own. You're planning to give to Mid-Florida 7 lots. And out of those 7 lots, we're very interested in purchasing 2 of them. One of the lots does have a house on it, which might have to be demolished or torn down because it has asbestos siding out on it, but however, we do not care. We will do what we have to do. We would like to purchase the side-by-side lots which are adjoining our property, which we have purchased during the last 60 years, piece by piece, all adjoining lots. Things in the area are changing rapidly, and we wish very much to purchase them instead of the city giving them away. We want to own the land and find a developer who wants to enhance the area. And in order to do this, we would probably start to purchase some other properties around there. We have a few ideas, like one that we have talked about, my husband and myself, like maybe making this block Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune destination, because at the east end of the riverfront esplanade, you have her statue, and at the west end is Bethune-Cookman University. Our area, this block, back then was the busiest business center. And you ask why? Well, because back then we had two of the largest grocery stores almost next door to each other. Piggly Wiggly, which some of you might remember, and AMP, which today is a part of the property we own. Mrs. Bethune walked up here to do all her grocery shopping. She was well known by all the merchants on the street and sold her famous sweet potato pies. I'm sure you've heard of them. All our buildings are now over 100 years old. And another thought that we had for the area was affordable apartment housing for the lower income residents, if so wished. Also, we might maybe have some sort of a sports complex or a shopping center. So we have a good start to do something meaningful for the area. We would like to solicit some other ideas, and then we would need to find a developer to help. We would like to pay the city the assessed value of the two lots, which is several $1,000s that adjoin our properties. Please do not give these two lots away. We want to pay the city for the two lots at the assessed price. Please amend this resolution and pull these two lots from the resolution, and they are 311 and 319 San Juan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My next speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is Sandy Murphy.
John Nicholson, 413 North Granview Avenue. With regard to what Mrs. Traeger just mentioned, that is the role of the CRA, to acquire property. So rather than have a bunch of little small properties, you put them together, make it easier to develop. Now, they've spent time acquiring property. The logical thing for the city would have been to offer it to them. There's a larger piece of property for a larger development. That's what CRAs are supposed to do. So for that, I would ask you to do what Mrs. Traeger is asking, to pull those two. Secondly, with regard to the lots that are finally getting, hopefully, back on the tax roll, it's a long time coming. We've had them a very, very long time. We've finally gotten a second beachside property right across from Jenny, will tell you. It doesn't do us any good to have these properties just sitting there. We need to put them for two reasons: a place for somebody to live, and secondly, it goes back on the tax roll. Third, highest and best use. Now, I understand what Ruth is doing, but we have to look at it logically. If we, and I don't remember what the property was, I think it was the one next to the philosopher's house. The gentleman wanted 5 lots together because he wanted to develop them. And it was logical that he should have all 5 rather than bid it out one to this person and one to that person. So we should look at, when we're doing this, look at the highest and best use of this property and any property in the city. Let's look at them all. Maybe we could add something to a property that we already own that would be beneficial to the city. And lastly, the other day I got caught in traffic, so I took a side road, Seaview, off of A1A. And I'm going down the street, and there's a lot on the side, irregular lot, because it doesn't fit the 50 by 75. So it can't be developed, but it had a house on it. So it's not in a CRA. In a CRA, you can build back what was there to the property. But outside that, you can't. So on my way back to the house, I went in and out of streets, and there are like 12 lots. There's one right behind me. It's too tiny. But there's a house in Philadelphia when I was up there for the summer that they put in $1.5 million home on a lot that size. So if they can put in a house that will give us lots of tax money, I would rather them change the codes for irregular. If they can put in something of value, then we look at it and say, okay, you're going to put in a house for $100,000 is one thing. $1 million is the second. So let's look at our irregular lots throughout the city, not just the CRA, but throughout the city, and get them back on the tax rolls. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sandy Murphy, and on deck is Ann Ruby.
Good evening, Sandy Murphy, 136 Park Avenue. John talked about the highest and best use, and I would say to you that highest and best doesn't always mean the most money. One of the single greatest problems we have in this community is the need for affordable housing. We have in front of us a proposal from a nonprofit that has proven capacity, that knows what it takes to get a shovel-ready project in the ground, that knows how to pull together various funding sources, which is a very high-level skill. If you haven't practiced that, you're not likely to be able to do it in any short period of time. And that seems to me to be the ideal use for surplus city properties. Particularly, they're offering these to persons or households who have a very low income in part. And that is the hardest group to serve. And if they're talking about being able to serve that group, then all the better. I think this is the highest and best use for the parcels, and I hope that you'll continue to look for other parcels in this city that can be used in the same way with experienced nonprofits who can put that housing on the street quickly and capably. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ann Ruby, and on deck is Jenny Nazak.
Ann Ruby, 137 Park Avenue. I'd like to second everything Sandy said. Mid-Florida Housing Project has a tremendous track record, and adding 2 more homes on these lots will make a significant difference to 2 families. And they will be ready to go. It will help them build wealth. These projects are ready to go now, not shoulda, woulda, coulda, in the future, we're gonna. And I think that's important to consider. So I understand the desire to build a large consolidated parcel, but these 2 lots, a large consolidated parcel already exists on the part of that owner, and these San Juan properties and the other lots that are under consideration will provide real value for our low-income residents. And that's important to consider. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jenny Nazak, and on deck is Lamenthea Collins.
Good evening, Jenny Nazak, 501 Harvey. These empty lots that are being donated, this is going to provide value not only for the low-income homeowners themselves, but for the whole neighborhoods. It's such a good thing to sprinkle different types of housing all around town, because a lot of people rightfully don't want, like, oh, please don't put a big project in our neighborhood. Don't concentrate this all in our neighborhood. And in old historic towns that have been vibrant, people were more sprinkled around together. There wasn't like a bunch of consolidation over here and over there. And then we've seen how that's caused a bunch of problems. Also, I would maintain the purpose of a CRA can be many-fold. It's not necessarily to assemble a bunch of parcels. I think that is actually deadly. I think a lot of times it makes this huge thing that nobody can afford, and then it sits empty. It's like, oh, great, we've got 12 empty lots now. Now we need some really big fat cat to come in here. Whereas if you've got like 1 lot here, one of the principles of strong towns is incremental development. So if you have a small developer who wants to build a little duplex, or somebody who wants to put a corner store, that would be like restoring the old bones of our walkable, old urban core neighborhoods. Like when I arrived in Daytona Beach, I could look around and say, oh, this is the bones of one of the different urban, old-fashioned type neighborhoods where people could walk to the store, where people knew each other, where people saw each other. Mayor Henry was asking very bravely, Mayor Henry's very brave on Facebook, asking questions and gets all kinds of feedback from all of us. How do we build community? One of the best ways to build community is add more density, add the infill housing that'll help bring the grocery store, that'll help bring back the drugstores, bring the things we've lost. Bethune, Mary McLeod Bethune Avenue is so beautiful in the potential, but it's so heartbreaking in the vast empty properties and just the decay. And we don't need more decay. We need more like houses and little shops and things. So it's a subject I'm very emotional about. Thank you all very much. And I'm super excited about my upcoming next door neighbor, whatever kind of house gets built on there. Which, by the way, there used to be a little mini 4-unit apartment on that lot. So there can be incremental density in my neighborhood again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Laminthea Collins, and on deck is Lydia Gray.
All right, good evening. I am a client of Mid-Florida, and I'm addressing the program that I've been on for almost 3.5 years, and it's about the lots that they were donated from the city to Mid-Florida, and the clients were giving lots to pick. So I picked San Juan 319 because I work for Botrain, and I've been employed with Botrain for about 8 years. And when I met Mr. Henry is when I first moved here in Daytona Beach with my daughters. And it's just so thought I wasn't gonna be here. But now I'm here, I've been here 20 years. My girls growed up, and it's been kind of frustrating being on a list, doing everything that you're supposed to do and everything. And so when the goal was, okay, you got everything, we just waiting on signatures. And I didn't realize that it was gonna take that long. In the midst of all that, I had a son to be murdered. And coming here, gave a better, life for my girls and my grandchildren. And so those lots, that particular lot, I went by and prayed on it, put oil on it, videotaped myself, and I am a true believer, man up above, because I've been waiting so long. I'm sorry, y'all. And the reason why I came here, because I'm just trying to build my foundation for my grandchildren, because I never owned a house. And this was my only hope to that lot and how close it is to my job. I don't even have to drive a car, I can just walk. And, just being here in Daytona, it's been a good experience for me, but this right here kind of took a toll. But I'm just praying that it would get signed today, and that lot that I picked, which is 319 San Juan, will be mine. Thank you.
Amen. I want to interject before the next speaker. You and your story are the reason that I sit here. Amen. You. I know your story. I know your daughters, and I know. It's just serious, though. And we should know that it's not just emotional, it's intelligent, and it personifies why you take lots and you do this with those lots. Because when you work for Votran, you don't make money to live in Margaritaville. But when you work for Votran, you provide an essential service to this community. And I have said for the last 5 years, 6 years maybe, that people who work for Votran and people who work in other places that pay similar salaries should be able to own a home. And that should be our ambition. So thank you for reminding me of why I sit here. Next speaker.
Okay. Our next speaker is Lydia Gregg, and on deck is Jim Cameron.
Enough said. I was going to come up here, but I heard mic drop. Amen to your comment. I've been doing this over 30 years, and it's very close to my heart. My name is Lydia Gregg. I represent Mid-Florida Housing Partnership, and I've devoted my life to helping first-time home buyers get into a home that they can afford and that they can keep. And the challenge nowadays is to find attainable housing, something that they can afford. Being able to build on these donated lots is a game changer. It makes it possible. Everything that was said up to now, it's all important. We work very hard and work tirelessly with clients who hang in there month after month. You mean I have to bring more financials in? Our clients are beyond prepared, and they just want their chance of changing the trajectory of their lives and their families' lives. They want their forever home. Thank you for your time.
Our final speaker on this item is Jim Cameron.
Good evening. I'm Jim Cameron Consultant. But I remember coming up here years before, talking with y'all when I was with Chamber of Commerce on this very topic, though. I mean, the need for affordable housing and such. I'm really glad to see it coming to fruition. I really am. And several of y'all, you in particular, though, Mayor, you remember a lot of those walks that we did out there on, and on the peninsula side and such. I mean, and that was one of the main topics we talked about, and some of the lots. I mean, I remember Jenny being out there with us and several others, Ann and Sandy and such, and we all talked about, the need for housing and such. So really glad to see it come to fruition, because there's a lot of people out there that are hardworking and that they need to be able to afford a home and have a home to live in. So again, congratulations. Keep up the good work.
And that was my final speaker, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have any comments from the commission?
I totally agree with you, Mr. Mayor, in regards to why we're sitting up here. Sandy and Ann hit it right on the head. Home ownership is what everybody deserves. And for us to have an opportunity to help those who have difficulty in achieving that goal is an honor. And when I look at this map before me, and I see all the property that this family already owns that hasn't been established into something, and to tell us that they're projecting some other things, I'd like to see something done with this before they get something else. We've already had some incidents with these properties not being upkept. And to me, you need to take care of what God has given you. So I think we need to give to those who need more, because shoulda, coulda, woulda ain't a bit of gooda.
Any other comments?
I just want to say thank you for making this all possible, because home ownership is very important, and it could be generational too. I just hope that the Traegers don't get discouraged. They do have 9 lots that are on MMB that can add to the community too. So I hope that if they do not receive these 2 lots, they still move forward with a project on MMB, because I think it's very important. It's so beautiful there. Every time I drive down the road, I'm just like, I don't know, there's a feeling there, and I know it could be so much better, and I feel that we're taking the steps to bring it in that direction. So I just want to thank everybody.
I concur with Commissioner Paris. I'd like them to see them take those funds that they're proposing to buy these lots with and to do something with those properties on Mary McLeod Boulevard. You know, we're so quick to bring Mary's name up on, for initiatives, but yet what have we done? What have we done?
So, anyone else? All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
That was our only item on the CRA agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have any comments from the CRA? All right, this will conclude our CRA agenda. We will convene our regularly scheduled commission meeting as quickly as possible.